most Americans don't know is that for the last 7 years, Canada has been the #1 supplier of oil to the United States. We've replaced Saudi Arabia. We are the new Saudi Arabia.
The nice thing about Canada is that it is a direct pipeline to the U.S. It's reliable fuel. It's from a stable source, and it's not going to be affected by weather issues like hurricanes. So it's a significant factor, and I expect one that will continue to grow in the future.
The tar sands are the largest industrial development and the largest energy project on the face of the planet. The land that we're talking about being disturbed is an area 149,000 square kilometers, an area the size of the state of Florida or the entire country of England.
Tar sands production is going to quadruple over the next 20 years or so. The tar sands are a very interesting example of end-to-end environmental degradation, whether it be excess use of water, whether it be toxic sludge that's out there affecting ecosystems, or whether it be greenhouse gas emissions.
We're at a real crossroads within the United States and within the world when getting the energy economy right.
An oil derrick is a drilling rig designed for the use in oil and natural gas production. The basic oil derrick has an upright stationary section which is potentially capable of supporting hundreds of tons of weight, combined with a movable boom tube which is used to raise and lower equipment. An oil derrick requires extensive crew to run and operate properly, and is run on a constant basis. In an area rich in oil, an oil derrick is designed to be a permanent structure. The oil sands are accountable for 175 billion barrels of oil. For one of these barrels of crude oil, 2 tons of soil is dug up, 185 gallons of water is used, and according to Environment Canada, the oil sands is accountable for only 5% of the greenhouse gases in Canada. The United States is very dependent on this resource, using nearly 67% of natural gas, petroleum, coal, and oil from the Albertan oil reserves. The other 33% accounts for biomass, nuclear energy, wind energy, solar energy, and hydroelectricity. Oil has been sold. Big oil companies and the government make huge profits. The main groups that benefit are the Canadian people, who receive 15% of the profits, large oil companies, who receive 53% of the profit, and citizens of Alberta, who make 32% of the profit. For Albertans and Canadians, the money goes towards the government and its funding, and social programs. The oil sands are not a sustainable resource we can use in the future. Eventually, we need to resort to a source of energy that is clean and is able to meet our energy demands. Here are some types of energy we can use. Nuclear energy originates from splitting uranium atoms in a process called fission. In the power plant, the fission process is used to generate heat in the form of steam. The steam powers a large turbine, which then is converted into electricity. Hydroelectricity is captured from surface waves or pressure fluctuations under the surface of the ocean. These fluctuations and waves carry potential energy, which is harvested and then turned into an electrical current. Solar power is energy collected from the sun. The energy is collected from the radiant light emitted from the sun and then transferred into electrical current. Finally, wind energy is energy harvested from the wind. Often windmills or large turbines are used to collect the energy and generate electricity. Wind energy is considered to be a renewable resource and a clean source of energy. There are many aspects of the oil sands. Some are important to society, and others have devastating results. Here are some pros and cons of the oil sands. For the pros, the oil sands are a huge export because the United States is a large consumer of Albertan oil. Also, due to our large oil reserves, the second largest on the planet, we are one of the biggest suppliers of oil to foreign countries. The money made off of selling crude oil has a large impact on the economy and the economic growth of the Canadian market. Currently, big oil corporations are trying to reduce GHG emissions, cut down on water consumption, stockpile soil for replacement when mining is complete, and using smaller areas of land for drilling. For the cons, the oil sands have a large and disastrous impact on the environment. The process of treating oil uses tons of hot water, and when expelled, heats up natural temperatures of lakes and rivers. This is also creates enough GHGs to fuel over 1 million homes each day. This source of energy is the dirtiest source of energy we can use. Using oil as our main energy source competes with weaker energy sources, making those sources obsolete. Other impacts on the environment is that the oil sands clear-cut land necessary for wildlife and other natural habitats, while the pipelines used to carry oil disrupt the forest floor. The oil that we're using is depleting quickly and now becoming limited reserves, thus making it very expensive. We received 2 responses from letters we sent about the oil sands, voicing our concerns and asking some questions. We received 2 letters out of the 5 we sent. One from T-Breath, a member of one of the First Nations tribes near Fort McMurray, and the other from the Prime Minister's Assistant, Mr. Monteith, on behalf of Mr. Stephen Harper. To sum up Mr. Monteith's answer, he addressed that the oil sands are necessary and important to Canada, but the supply is running low. He stated by 2020, Canada will hopefully be almost 100% running on clean and alternative energy technologies. He also pointed out that the program Eco Energy gives Canadian support for retrofitting their homes. T-Breath's response stated his opinion on the destruction of the natural habitat and harsh impacts on the First Nation people. He said that solar and wind energy should be pushed and supported by the government so they can become efficient and effective.
Hi, my name is Jordan and this is Amon.
Today we'll be talking about the oil sands together.
During our discussion, I will be talking about the pros of the oil sands and Amon will be talking about the cons of the oil sands.
So let's get started. I and many others think that the oil sands should be shut down and replaced with other sources of energy, for many reasons. The oil sands have a big impact on the environment because when you're mining the oil, you must strip the land to extract the oil. This process puts many animals out of their natural habitat, therefore dramatically altering the ecosystem.
Yes, it may have an effect on the environment, but it's not as big as you are making it seem. Oil sands and mining companies spend billions of dollars every year making sure that the wildlife is not harmed.
So what about the recent incident where the ducks landed in the tailing ponds? It has been reported that nearly 500 ducks died, and many others harmed.
Well, that was an innocent mistake. The sonic cannons that the companies have beside the tailing ponds to scare the animals away were not set up due to weather setbacks.
Okay, but that still does not excuse the issue. If we used other sources of energy like wind, hydro, this would reduce the harm done to nature. It would decrease the possibility of the ducks landing on the tailing ponds.
But if there isn't any wind or enough wind, we will not have any electricity. If there isn't any tides or the tides aren't strong enough, what will we do? With fossil fuels, we know exactly how much energy we have. It's very black and white.
Yes, that is a good point, but there is also a very good answer to that point. If we use a combination of renewable energy sources, then we will have more reliable energy production that will sustain the same amount as we are using today, with a way smaller impact on the environment.
So, solar energy has lower efficiency, high cost, and needs access to the sun most of the time. Energy has to be stored in batteries, hydrogen, water, or other matter, wind turbines. Wind turbines are noisy, they require steady wind, and have high possibility of killing birds.
Yes, solar energy can provide electricity to poor and remote people, reduces dependency on fossil fuel and coal, and low environmental effect on CO2 emissions. Wind turbines have high efficiency with low environmental effect and no CO2 emissions.
desperate hour. Help us, world leaders. You are our only hope.